Welcome to Veterans Today. You're listening to the new WCEG network on WCEGRadioTalk.com. Watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, WCEG network. Uh, we are your worldwide community empowerment group. Uh, we speak life into the community. Uh, my name is Herman Anderson. I'm one of the co-hosts, and my other co-host is
Anthony Aiken's writing.
And today we have a special guest, Mr. Marlon Morman. Uh, as we finish this introduction, we will give you his brief bio, then we will move into the program. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. And the Twitter account for Anthony is count underscore WCEG. That's COLONE underscore WCEG. Uh, the Twitter account for Herman is vets2 day underscore Herman. And you can like us on Facebook and also follow us on YouTube. And you may call in and join the conversation at 646-876-9923. Today we gonna talk about several things on the program where we talk about the current situation that we're dealing with, which is the COVID-19 virus. We'll discuss a lot of Mr. Marlon's success and specialty, which is entrepreneurship and being a retired major. Uh, he has quite a long resume. Him and Anthony already started before we got on the show. And we will talk about how to help veterans get there and entitlements and understand what benefits are available. And just let me give you a few highlights of Mr. Marlon's career. He's a retired major from the United States Army. Uh, he had experience in operation in logistics, supply distribution maintenance as part of his military career, logistics, transportations. Uh, I'm just giving you the bullet points. I'm not reading all of the details that goes with that. It Since he transitioned from the military, along with his wife, he's now co-owner of self-employed of a headphone company, a DJ company, founders of Marty Transportation, and he's also has quite educational background from a management degree from Keller Graduate School, a master's degree from American Military, uh, training from a bachelor's from the University of Maryland, and there are other qualifications. He's a veteran-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned business person, along with his wife. So with that, I will stop and ask Mr. Morman to give us a little bit of information.
Thank you, Herman, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for having me on the show today. It's a pleasure. Once again, like I said, like Herman said, I retired from the Army 2012 after serving 21 years, 3 combat tours, have 2 Bronze Stars. My main background was logistics. Once I retired, me and my wife started a transportation business, since that was one of my backgrounds. We basically do a lot of corporate transportation, event transportation around the metro Atlanta area. Once we started into that venture, we got introduced to a new technology, which is kind of new to America, that's been around in Europe for a few years, called silent headphone disco or silent party, where the patrons dawn on headphones. So we own like over 500 or so headphones. We do these events where individuals wear the headphones, and we can change the channels from up to 3 different channels where the headphones illuminated with different colors, red, blue, or green. So we do quite a few events around Metro Atlanta, which kind of keeps us a little busy. But right now, due to COVID, fortunately, we can't have large gatherings. In addition to, Hartsfield-Jackson Airport being shut down, that kind of put our transportation service, brought that to a complete halt. So right now, we're just kind of making adjustments, trying to move forward, look at the future, see how our businesses will move forward.
Thank you for that great introduction. Brother Anthony, what's on your mind?
He's on mute. He's muted himself.
I've said it's great to be with all of you today, and especially with the situation dealing with the pandemic and COVID-19 and how has it affected many families, to include veterans around the world. So it's good to have you on, Brother Morman, and we're excited. I listened with pleasure to your outstanding career serving our nation. And now you and your wife are doing the entrepreneurship thing, and hopefully be a total success in all that you do, and helping not only veterans, but people around Atlanta and the world. So with that being in mind, I'd like to ask you this. Having been an entrepreneur myself for 14 years, what did you find to be the biggest challenge for you moving from the mean green machine, the military, into becoming that civilian with that beautiful tie and jacket you have on in your photo?
Basically just learning the ins and outs of kind of establishing the business. I get a lot of questions asked to this day from younger guys that want to get into business. You just the basics, like getting the LLC, establishing the LLC, opening up a business bank account, getting the employee identification number from the IRS. It's just a little small stuff that people just don't understand, and they think it's just this great feat that they have to do to just even establish the groundwork of getting a little small business started. It doesn't take a whole lot of money to establish a business. I think that's where people get confused, and they also think that it requires a lot of upfront money in the beginning to get started. A lot of people get confused with the SBA, and they think that there's this big pot of money for everybody that thinks they want to start a business, and they're just going to hand the money over to them, where you got to have some skin in the game as well. So I think that's the biggest thing that we didn't understand in the beginning. We paid lawyers, so-called business lawyers, to help us do something that could have probably took us about an hour to do ourselves, because we just didn't understand.
Well, I totally agree. Having the foundation is key and essential for any business. Understanding is, I use a lot of military terms when I started my business. Rules of engagement. What are the rules of engagement? What are my mission essential task lists, my medals? What do I need to utilize to get myself going straight? So having that foundation of a good financial management system, my marketing plan, understanding what my competition's all about, and how could I do it quicker, better, and cheaper for the client, and make sure that I do such a job that they're going to refer me to someone else, or they're going to call me back again. So, I applaud you. I know what it takes, having been there, and it's something that you're going to have to work on all the time. Yes. To make sure that you stay ahead of the game.
Well, just to agree with Anthony, when Penny sent out that picture with all us in suits, it almost made me want to go put a suit on.
Yeah. We understand being lean, mean, and clean.
Well, unfortunately, in my line of work, I have to wear a suit every day. I'm also a certified professional chauffeur, so I'm out there picking up a lot of executives, celebrities, athletes, or whatever you have it. So my line of work requires me to wear a suit every day. So my closet is filled with black and white, black suits and white shirts.
Well,
That-
I'm
That's
sure.
pretty much when I came up after I got in the military. I worked for AT&T, and that was basically at that time that was only two colors, either black or navy blue, and and the blue shirt or white shirt. So no, that's what we dealt with. And one thing I wanted to ask you: when you guys got out and decided to transition from the military to corporate America, uh, the transition process hopefully has improved now than what it was back in 2012. Uh, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with the organization in Atlanta, Vetlanta.
Yes.
Uh, their One of their pillars is to help veterans transfer from the military to corporate America and provide you resources to help you get started. Do you think an organization like that would have helped you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, when I retired, I was hired on a on the job training program through Ryder Corporation. So I kind of had a little bit easier than most. So I kind of had a job before I actually left the military. So I actually left the up here at Fort McPherson and kind of went and had a job like literally the next month after I retired. But but like you just mentioned, having an organization that would help, that was the biggest thing, was transitioning for me, trying to figure out what was next, what was I going to do? We were kind of new to Atlanta, so we really didn't have a lot of connections here that would have kind of pushed us out there into the next career field. My biggest thing retiring was all I heard was resume, 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 resume. And after 21 years of being in the military, I had never written a resume. So that was kind of a challenge in the beginning. And then just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, what industry I wanted to be in. But an organization like Veterans Helping Veterans probably would have put me on the right track.
Yeah. Well, one other thing, it's important, especially if a small business would like to work for the federal government or state government or something, is to get with previous owners of companies like SCORE with the Small Business Administration, whereby they can help you with the structure of your business and understanding your competition and making sure that you just follow a path for success. Now, we all know there's going to be bumps in the road. It's going to be a lot of bumps in the road. But it's going to take perseverance. It's going to take seeing it through. It's going to be committed, dedicated, sacrifice. All those things that folks out on the outside of your circle don't realize what you're going through. All they see is Mr. Morman and his queen are successful business owners, but they don't understand the toil and behind the scenes that you're dealing with every day with marketing your company and doing the right things with your company for you to move forward and stay successful. So let me ask you this: how long was it before you had the opportunity to write a business plan for your company, your roadmap?
I actually wrote the business plan, make a long story short. When I left the military and went to work for Ryder, I worked for them for about a year. Then I had several offers to go back overseas to do my background in the military. So I worked for Ryder for about a year. Then me and my wife Tiffany moved to Kuwait for 2 years. So we were over there as a contractor doing pretty much the same thing we did as field grade officers in the military. After we did that, when we decided to come back to the United States, we decided not to re-enter corporate America and go the entrepreneur route. So while we were there, I kind of figured out, okay, this is the industry that I wanted to enter, which was the ground transportation industry, with luxury limousine. And I kind of did a lot of my research over there, built my business plan, kind of knew the direction where we wanted to go. And that's where we actually started building a business plan. So by the time we returned back to the United States, we had already had a business plan, had a bank account, we had our EIN. So we did a lot of the groundwork while we were while we were overseas.
Well, that's good. That's very good, because that's the foundation that I talked about earlier, you know, and making sure that you have the structure in place and a roadmap. That business plan, when I wrote mine, was a 5-year plan. I made sure that every 5 years I took a look at my business plan to see, did I follow through what I sat down and discussed at the beginning? And again, I said there are a lot of bumps and changes during the course of your time in business, but that's okay. That's okay. All it does is make you stronger and makes you think, and for you to, you know, formulate different ways of how you want to get your business done.
Let me let our listeners know you're listening to the new WCEG network, WCEGtalkradio.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can watch us on your smartphone, or you can go to WCE.com. You can watch us on YouTube. And our call-in number is 646-876-9923. Again, 646-876-9923. So please call in and join the conversation. And one other question before we move to something else. Going through the process of getting your business approved as a veteran-owned business, was that difficult?
Well, I would say it was a lot of paperwork involved. You know, when you're a new business, they don't require too much from you, tax returns and things of that nature. But it was just a matter of getting like a business license, sending in the type of returns, making sure they had correct industry that you were in as far as the NACs. And it took about a few months of just paperwork back and forth. And they were pretty good with the checklist. Making sure you had the checklist and you can go down. And once you got the certification, they send you. And it was good for, at the time, a year. And then later on, I think they extended it to 2 years. But what I found with that certification, it kind of revolves more around government contracts. So it didn't really kind of work for me in the industry that I was in, because the federal government don't use luxury transportation. They have their own transportation. So, you know, I didn't see them. I don't know that the government, you know, rent out limousines, you know. So that kind of didn't kind of fit in the arena that I needed at the time. So I really didn't get a chance to exercise that certification, you know, during that time.
Well, the beauty about the certifications shows that you've gone through and done your due diligence.
Right.
That's the key, that you've done the due diligence. I can recall when Herman asked a question about the veterans, since our market, we had a 33 1/3 type market of dealing with federal government, private, and you know, local businesses. So we wanted to make sure that we were certified in just about every county that we wanted to do business with, the GSA for General Services Administration, the VA, Small Business Administration. We just wanted to be in the game because there are a lot of small businesses out there like you doing the same thing. But our caveat was, how can we do it better than our client at a better cost and at a higher level of professionalism? So that was our drive every day, to keep us, you know, in the game. Because once they realize and your reputation is golden, you'll get a lot of work. You'll get a lot of work. It's your track record is what makes you successful.
Anthony, let's move to the situation we're dealing with worldwide now is COVID-19. So there's a lot going on.
That's a good one to be with, because right now I see this COVID-19 from several different aspects. One, from a mental standpoint, especially with veterans, those that have PTSD, those that are dealing with substance abuse, those are dealing with homelessness, all those issues. This COVID has caused the local medical authorities, the VA, and all of them to shut down. So how does the veteran deal with that type pressure and understanding those kinds of things? So that's important right now, making sure that we have some type of system in place to help the veterans during this particular crisis.
That was a good segue to this email that I just received from Dr. Cooper yesterday. And it has about 4 questions on here that I will read and answer. The first one is, when will you be provided more service again? This is Dr. Anthony Cooper, who's in charge of volunteers at the VA here in Atlanta. And the answer are, we are working on a plan to expand services. Our plan will consider guidance from federal, state, and local government. Safe care is our mission and our continuing commitment to you. In the meantime, we will continue to maximize the use of personalized telehealth, phone consults, wellness check. We know these services have been a valuable link to you and other veterans during this challenge. This is from the Atlanta VA. And the question number 2, will all services be available again when you expand? And his answer to that is, we are assessing the best way to expand services in the safest way possible. More information will be available close to the expansion date. And another question that was asked was, how will I know it will be safe to come back, and when you say it is? The answer is, the safety of our patient and staff continue to be our top priority. To that end, we have taken the following safety precautions: cleaning the facility, recommending it outlined by use the recommendation outlined by CDC. And another question, will visit be in person or by telehealth? Answer, we will provide services using telehealth as much as appropriate. Face-to-face care will be prioritized and when it's available again. So those are some answers that were published just this week regarding the status of the VA.
Well, I concur with that. I've had actually 2 video conferences with the VA since the lockdown, shutdown, or whatever you want to call it, that prevented me from going to the VA hospital. And it proved to be very good. What I liked about it was you're much more focused on your needs, because you had that direct attention of that provider for a short period of time, or whatever time they allowed it. So we're very, very focused in regards to my healthcare. And I'm scheduled for more later this month. So we understand the dynamics of change. We just have to be adaptable. I'm just concerned about those veterans that needed to have that contact, and those support groups, like the PTSD group or sexual trauma group or something of that nature, whereby they don't have that closeness, touchy-feely kind of thing with a provider that could help him or her go through whatever situation they're dealing with. So we just have to deal with where we are, and hopefully those individuals that really need the services will utilize the telemedicine until we can actually have more direct contact with the healthcare provider. Let me ask you though, this, going back to your business, one important fact of maintaining a successful business is a succession plan, 1. And number 2, making sure that you have adequate insurance coverage for you and your employee or your partner. Have you looked into those aspects for your company?
Well, as far as in my industry, of course, we have to keep commercial insurance anyway, as far as the equipment, and we have to carry so many millions of dollars for the passengers, which include the employee i.e. the chauffeur in the vehicle. So it's a requirement for us to maintain X amount of dollars worth of insurance by state and state law. So we've always maintained that coverage since day one.
What about insurance for yourself and making sure through your business that you're covered for yourself and your partner?
Are you talking about as far as like right now in the situation that we're in, as far as a loss of business insurance?
Correct.
We actually didn't go down that route, right now, because the way that our revenue was generated, that we kind of made the payments on the vehicles. The vehicles kind of get paid through our revenue, so we never reached that point. The bank is kind of working with us a little bit right now during this crisis with kind of what's a good word for saying, furloughing the
deferred payments.
Right. So that the bank is actually kind of helping us out right now. So we actually didn't get to that. We actually at that threshold where it's like, wow, we needed this type of business interruption insurance. So we didn't see this thing coming like nobody else did. So we never really thought that we needed it,
Sure, correct. Yeah. Well, one thing is that one word that we talk about on WCG radio and all the time and is about relationships. You must have a relationship with your banker. You must have a relationship with your lawyer. You must have a relationship with your financial management firm. All those things equate to success, especially when there's a time like this, an unpredictable time of trying to be successful. Now, from your standpoint, being a small business, have you had the opportunity to think about developing some type of business mentoring or partnership with a large firm?
Not a large firm. I'm actually looking back, going the other direction, helping us the guys that want to start out. So my passion is more kind of like helping guys that want to kind of start entrepreneurship, get their foot in the door. I actually haven't looked forward to going to a larger corporation. We've had offers to kind of team up with larger transportation companies to kind of create a more bigger footprint, because mom and pops, kind of might not move as further as you would as more of a collaborative group. So we actually entertaining a few offers right now to kind of move forward in that direction.
Yeah,
due to this situation.
Yeah, I suggest that even if you don't react to it right now, Atlanta, as you know, is a very big town and a convention city, and there are large firms that are just getting mega dollars. But the way some organizations are working is that they want small business involved, and large business will have to go out and look for those small companies. So, suggestion is to get involved with some organizations that can help you with networking and mentoring and partnership through business associations. For instance, for years, I was a member of the Atlanta Business League and became one of their officers, but it opened up the doors to avenues with local Georgia companies like Georgia Power and those kinds of things. So just keep that door open. Don't shut it. And I like the fact that you want to train up smaller companies like yourself, but you also have to take a look at you and where you're trying to go. And that's when I talked about the sustainability aspect. When things are low, and they will get low, there may be that opportunity to make that phone call to CEO X that could help you get through that particular period by putting you on his team or their team to move out.
Okay. That's good advice.
Because I tell you what, if you take a look, even during the downtime of work, latter part of last year, and most people are saying, well, man, this business is tough. But you think about it, Atlanta, Georgia had two of the largest construction projects going on in the city at the same time. Mercedes-Benz Stadium and the Atlanta Braves complex. those two facilities, two business opportunities were worth more than $4 billion. $4 billion. So there are opportunities. And there were opportunities where a lot of small companies were able to get in under the different trade levels to be successful. So that's why I said, keep your options open, making sure that you have those network available, because there are a lot of large limousine companies here in the city, and they get a lot of work. So why can't you get some of it?
And to add to that, Mr. Aiken, we actually are members of the Greater Atlanta Limousine Association. We actually sit on the board, so we kind of stay kind of in tune with what's going on as far as the ground transportation industry and then the actual Hartsfield Airport. So we go sit on stakeholder meetings with the actual airport board, so they give us kind of what's going on as far as ground transportation requirements. So we kind of keep our ear to the ground as far as our industry is concerned, and we try to network with the larger companies. We do get a lot of trickle down work when they can't. Of course, everybody doesn't have enough vehicles to accommodate every requirement in the city, like when the Super Bowl was here or when the Masters in town. So we kind of benefit for some of those large events as smaller guys.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, that is good. And as we move along and try to inform the community and empower the community with information, as it relates back to the COVID-19 situation, I have a couple of numbers that's available for veterans and that I'll give out. One is if you are veterans that dealing with benefit debts, veterans can contact the VA Debt Management Center if you have debts and you, because of the situation, you're not able to live up to your obligation at this time. The number for that is 1-800-827-0648. That's 1-800-827-0648. And there is another one dealing with healthcare. If you are in a situation where you are being treated at a veteran situation, a veteran hospital, a veteran facility, and depending on your situation, you may have to pay part of the prescription or a certain percentage. If you have a debt concerning that, the number is to call 1-888-827-4817. That's 1-888-827-4817. And as always, if you're dealing with your status of your benefits, you can call 1-800-827-1000. That's 1-800-827-1000.
Herman, those are great numbers and great piece of information to give out. I know this week I've been inundated by calls from veterans seeking help, trying to get their benefits and their compensations. The other thing, as a result of this COVID-19, death benefits in particular, the veterans. And I've always told them all to go to a source. If you have access to a computer or one of your family members could assist you in going to va.gov, where you can get a summary of your VA dependents and survivors benefits. You can get a summary of benefits and compensations, and they're available to you. And if you don't have access to, the social network, for instance, being antiquated, not even having a phone or a computer, but you can always get someone to call that number for you, that 800-827-1000, and get your questions answered. And as I told several of them, you're not begging for anything. You're requesting what you've earned. What you earned by your service to this country. That was a check. That was a blank check that was stated that you would have once you retired. So if you don't follow through, and then we'll be on you. So listening to Veterans Today Talk Radio, Herman and I and all the other guests that we've had on, we just try to impart knowledge and make sure that veterans know of these things that are available to them every day. Every day. And I hope you too, Mr. Morman, had the opportunity to get associated with a veteran service organization, the VFW or DAV or whatever it is that could help you if you and your queen decide that you want to go and tackle the VA system for your benefits and compensations.
I'm actually a member of the VFW 6449 out in Fairburn. And actually, when I actually retired, that's why I attended a lot of the Black Veterans Helping Veterans with Herman in the beginning, so I could get a better understanding with getting my benefits. But I actually had those taken care of back in 2018. So I got my final rating. So I'm pretty happy where I'm at now.
Very good. Very good. Very good. That's very good news, because there are a lot of veterans out there that have not taken the opportunity. We've heard all excuses, right, Herman?
We have, and we also know that a lot of time it takes years to get through the system. So you have to be persistent, and you have to really pay attention to details to get what we have earned as veterans.
Right. I mean, I just had a Marine veteran to talk to me this week, and we were talking about his level of compensation. He's like at 90%. He's unemployable, and he's total and permanent. And he wants to increase his compensation. That's not going to happen. He's basically already at 100%. So you need to understand, like I said, the engagement for him to, and not only him, but all the others to understand what the ratings mean, what unemployability means, and what total and permanent means. Because just because you have a rating of 100% and you don't have total and permanent, that means that you could be examined again. And that's why it's so important for veterans, if they have some type of a VA appointment, don't miss them.
That's important, and it's also important, as you said earlier, if you really don't understand your letter that you receive, is that you have a service officer that's has the experience and that is an expert that can help you understand what you really have.
True, and just here's an example. This is my compensation letter that everyone would get, that, like yourself, Mr. Morman and Herman. We all received this letter. And inside this letter, the VA basically tells you how they came to their decision. But they also give you the opportunity, if you disagree with it, within a certain period of time to respond to it. So my comment to this Marine veteran that was 90% unemployable T&P, and you're trying to go and get a higher compensation level, well, the first thing they're going to ask you is, what new evidence do you have that we didn't have before to come up with this rating? And I don't want you to think that just because you're at 90%, that you just need 10% more to get to 100%. The VA has a different math, totally different math. So you need to really understand the rules of engagement in dealing with the VA and how they come to their compensation ratings, because it's totally different from what you think, from a 90% to 100%. It may take additional 30 to 40 or 50% for you to get to that 100% level. So you need to understand. So that's what we try to do.
No, we want to inform veterans that when you start the process, it's all about preparation. You need your medical records. What if you just getting out of the military? You have your military medical records. But if you also have been to civilian doctors, you have those. So you need all of your medical records and available as part of your initial claim. In a lot of us, when we got out, I didn't spend a career in there. So you misplaced your DD Form 214. So you need to make sure you acquire a copy of that, so you have that along with all your other medical records and military records when you submit your claim. And as we've been talking about, Anthony, if you submit what they a fully developed claim, you have a better chance of getting it through the system the first time than having it come back, ask for additional information. In the meantime, the clock is running.
Yeah.
So it's, as we are talking about here now, I recommend you do everything you can to have all your ducks in a row when you submit your claim. If you're new at submitting it the first time, or if you providing additional information, make sure that you have all that you need to make it complete. Because one thing is, I found out if you look at your denial letter, if you read it, if they deny you and you go past the denial and read the rest of it, they tell you in there what else you need to make it complete.
Yeah, and that's what I indicated. You know, that letter will tell you everything you need to know and how to follow through with it. But it's important to have someone outside of the rating system from the VA. That's what we're talking about, the third-party agencies, such as the veteran service organizations, that can help walk you through that maze, that bureaucratic maze of paperwork, et cetera. Now, if you're looking for an instant answer, you're in the wrong world. It's not going to happen like that. It's going to take due diligence on your part, making sure that you stay in direct communications with that veteran service organization, and to follow through and do everything that they're asking you to do. Because you're going to be tested. They're going to test you. I mean, you're going to get tested. So, but at the end of the tunnel, when that light comes through and you're 100% total and permanent unemployable, you're a different person then. Life changes because you've been vetted and you've gotten everything that you've earned as a result of your service to the military.
And like I said earlier, that if you just getting started, or if you don't have all your records, there are several ways to do that. And for example, if you need a copy of your DD Form 214, Georgia Department of Veteran Services, North Carolina, Florida, all states have Department of Veteran Services. And that's probably your best stop the first time, is to request it through them, because you can usually get it pretty quickly. And if that doesn't work, then you have to go to the military archives, which is in St. Louis, and the number to call for that is 314-801-0800. Again, the number is 314-801-0800.
Another thing I think is very important too, for those veterans who are already in the system, are trying to get into the system for their compensations. And for instance, if they're also being seen at the VA and they have access to a computer, they need to get themselves registered with e-benefits, which helps you track your benefits. And the other thing is My Healthy Vet, which gives you contact with your primary care provider, your lab results, your x-rays, your consultations. You can send secure messaging, the whole 9 yards. So you have to, on your part, do what's necessary to get involved with these different types of social media that can help you, especially now, since we're under this pandemic scenario, that you can still be effectively communicating with people that can help you out. So My Healthy Vet is one, and e-benefits is the other one.
That is correct.
So those are important. Those are
E-ben-
very, very important for you to be involved with right now.
E-benefits is the key, Mr. Aiken. I mean,
Yeah.
without that, you can't even file
You
or,
can't.
or upload any of your supporting documentation.
Correct. So veterans out there, listeners around the world, we're just giving you tried and proven details. All of us that you see on this call today have been vetted through the VA system and received compensation. We've done that. So we're encouraging you to do the same. It can be done.
Well, particularly in today's environment, e-benefits, if you dealing with a claim in My Healthy Vet, both, I mean, they are your number one tools because there's very little personal interaction at this time. So you're gonna have to use one of those tools. And as you said earlier, Anthony, if you are of an age where you are not interested in being technology savvy, then you have to talk someone else into doing it, pay somebody else into doing it. But that's how it need to work.
Well, you can also go to your local library. You can go to senior citizen centers. There are a lot of things out there for you that could help you. In addition to family members and friends. I know that when I was going through it, when my queen, my wife, wasn't available, I called good friends, around the country that I could have dialogue with and talk to about what their experiences, and they helped me eliminate some of the frustrations because they've already gone through it. For instance, in your business, you speak with someone who has the experience and have done what you're trying to do and can help you through those periods of what ifs and I don't know what to do next, who to call or whatever, So you just need to be open to change. You just need to be adaptable, like we were in the military. It was in the operational plan. We always had an op plan to move forward, and the same thing in your business.
Well, that's true, particularly in veteran organization. And like for an example, in my veteran organization, we Marlon and Tiffany was with us when we started, and so we'll be 8 years old in September. But we have a lot of lessons learned. We have people that started out at 0 and are now 100%. So, I mean, we have experience that can help someone as if they come in and let us know that what step they're in. So it's always it's always good to have that experience to rely on and have people that has been through the trenches and understand how to get the final results.
And another thing I like to add too is, as I was retiring, I didn't learn about the VA compensation until I had one foot already out the door. I was just fortunate enough to be around, enough, colonels and sergeant majors that had enough knowledge about the system to kind of guide me through the whole navigation part of filing for VA compensation. And what I didn't understand was service connected versus non-service connected.
Correct.
Like for me, for example, I got diagnosed with sleep apnea my last year in the Army. I didn't even know I had it. So versus you look at somebody else that gets out and retires and they're already out and then they get diagnosed with sleep apnea, they're gonna get treated totally different because they didn't get diagnosed while they were still in the service. So that's a huge difference between service connected versus non-service connected when it comes down to getting your rating.
Well,
you're exactly right.
Very important to understand that. Yeah, very, very important.
But those are some of the key things that that we learn, and like you say, depending on your transition steps, if you in a position when you transition out, someone is kind of there to provide you some information. You come out at a different level than somebody that comes out with no information at all. And as far as having your paperwork in order, also having knowing what is service connected, and once you have that, you got more of a complete claim already.
Right.
Well, all of these things are good. We just hope that since we've made you a star on the show today, Mr. Morman, that you will go out and spread the word, not only about Veterans Today, talk radio, and what we tried to do, but that you become an advocate to support other veterans, as you said you would like to do,
right,
and help them along. Because I'm a strong believer in it takes a village. It takes a village. None of us became successful by ourselves. We always had someone to help us move forward and to uplift us. As men, we need to really be concerned now, especially during these times, about veterans that are dealing with depression. Men deal with depressions totally different than women. And we need to talk up more to each other, to help each other, and to get out of those depressive states that could lead to all kinds of situations that could affect you and your family. So let's be an advocate of support. Let's be an advocate of uplifting each other. And let's be an advocate of just doing the right things to move forward with life.
Let me, before we run out of time, give out a few numbers that will back up what you're saying, Anthony. The crisis number, for an example, is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. That's the crisis number. And that's also the National Center for PSD hotline. You can also chat about PTSD on the crisis number by texting 8255. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-8. Let me start over. 1-800-799-8. Again, 1-800-799-7233.
Okay.
National Sexual Assault Hotline is 1-800-656-4673. 1-800-656-4673. And the National Homeless Hotline is 1-877-424-3838. And that's 1-877-424-3838. And during the time of COVID-19, we're getting a lot of calls regarding homeless and also regarding support with food and rent.
A couple of things before we close out. May is what we call National Military Appreciation Month. And this is the time that we really salute all that have served in defense of our nation. There's also a time that we salute our spouses. And that being the case, what do we have this weekend, guys?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. So let's give a big shout out to all of the mothers out there and wives for what they do. I know my wife used to wear this shirt. When he was needed, he was always TDY. You know what I mean? I was always gone a lot. So I salute my queen of 39 years. Herman, I'm sure you do the same with yours, and Brother Morman with your wife.
Happy Mother's Day.
My happy Mother's Day to you. We love you. And the other shameless plug we always give out, Herman, we always talk about our Madam Kahuna, our queen, Ms. Rogers, for her vision in putting together the WCEG network. And we have
Yes.
outstanding other show hosts that provide great information to the community at large. And I'm sure Mr. Morman and others would be able to see our show on YouTube and other social medias after the day, and they can understand and, you know, what we're doing and what we're trying to do. So you have any closing comments that you would like to provide to our listeners?
I'd just like to say thank you again for having me today. It was a pleasure. I'd like to thank Ms. Penny Rogers and you, Herman, and Mr. Aiken. This was a very productive discussion. I hope the listeners out there kind of learned a lot and got some information that they could use as far as their VA benefits or any type of help that they may need. This was wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity. Hopefully I can do it again.
That's great. I want to give a shout out to my good friend, Dr. Welford Roberts, who's online with us, retired Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. United States Army, one of the smartest guys I know, PhD in toxicology. And thank him for being on, and we appreciate him very much.
Well, I want to thank everybody for participating, and I definitely want to thank Marlon and Tiffany both. They're a husband and wife team, both retired from the military, transitioned, became successful entrepreneurs, and are willing to give back and help veterans and help the community. So that they get a great round of thanks from me for participate in the community and working on improving and making life better for everybody else.
Thank you, Herman.
Thank you, guys. It's been a great show. I hope, you know, that people learn some things. I know, Herman, I got a couple of great guests lined up for us coming on very shortly. Carl Lee to talk about supplemental medical insurance for veterans, especially now in light with all of the changes going on in the insurance industry and the finance industry, and making sure that they understand all the rules of engagement deal with Medicare, Medicaid, the whole 9 yards. So he's going to come onto the show and provide us some good information for our listeners.
That is super. I mean, that's really our vision and mission, is to empower the community. So we try to do that every show. And with this being Military Appreciation Month and Sunday is Mother's Day, so we're gonna wish all the ladies happy Mother's Day and happy weekend, and be safe and stay healthy. And with that, we'll say have a good weekend.
Okay, and remember, our number is call-in numbers for 646-876-9923. Make sure that you pass that around, and we'll get the information out to everyone on the another email or social media that they can come and join us live on this Zoom for WCEG Talk Radio, WCEG Network with Veterans Today Talk Radio. So see you guys. Take care.
And just let me add to that, we on Facebook. We're screaming on Facebook, so you can see. Go back and we are recorded. You can see us on Facebook also at this time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.